Uh, Good afternoon. I'm Adam Contreras,
Yeah, Davis.
and this is a presentation on enhancing middle school education through cyber security curriculum. Um, this is for the course CS 3001 with Dr. Gilbert Young for November 28th, 2023. Cybersecurity at the middle school level is becoming increasingly necessary today. This presentation slash paper will discuss several reasons why introducing cybersecurity education at this level is crucial. According to the International Telecommunication Union, it defines cybersecurity as a collection of tools, policies, security concepts, security safeguards, guidelines, risk management approaches, actions, training, best practices, assurance, and technologies that can be used to protect the cyber environment and organizations and users' assets. Cybersecurity strives to ensure the attainment and maintenance of the security properties of the organization and users' assets against relatively security cyber environment. Middle school is a critical period of technological exploration and social development. One only must walk the campus of middle schools to see that almost every student in one way or another is affected by the cyber environment. Although its primary smartphone use outside of the classroom, in the classroom, states have mandated a one-to-one computer to student ratio that allows students access to the internet, which allows them to be exposed to the cyber environment. Outside of school, students are exposed to more of the cyber environment mainly through social media. Unless the student is sleeping, the student is pretty much exposed for hours upon hours daily, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. The smartphone is for the kids at the middle school level, is a version of the Wild West. There are few rules established for students as there are few rules in the Wild West. If there are any rules, it usually comes from the classroom teacher. This is why there is a need for implementation of cybersecurity curriculum tailored for middle school students. The middle school level most likely have the first computer class as an elective. This is where students will be exposed to the first cybersecurity awareness. Cybersecurity awareness is defined as a methodology to educate internet users to be sensitive to various cyber threats and the vulnerability of computers and data to these threats. And that's from Rahim, 2009. Curriculum integration. The curriculum should integrate cybersecurity topics throughout the computer class. There are many platforms like Cyberry, Khan Academy, or Code Academy that offers course content related to cybersecurity. Through these platforms, students can receive certifications that acknowledge their completion and competency of the content or courses offered by these platforms. Another way is to give examples of cybersecurity scenarios that allow students to apply their knowledge in a practical setting. Bringing into the classroom the news of the latest cybersecurity threats and breaches to keep students informed about the evolving landscape in the cyber world. By discussing up-to-date real-world dangers, it allows the students to think critically and find solutions. If possible, perhaps the school could bring in local information technology professionals to provide insight real-world cybersecurity challenges. The curriculum could also reach other students not taking the class by creating a cybersecurity awareness campaign throughout the school. It would bring awareness to other students by using posters, social media, and other communication channels to convey cybersecurity. Digital literacy. Cybersecurity curriculum should promote digital literacy among students. Digital literacy is crucial in preparing students for challenges and opportunities present in the digital age. The evaluation of online information, ethical online behavior, and effective use of digital tools are important for students. According to learningforjustice.org, students should 1. Analyze how words communicate bias, understand and evaluate online searches, learn how to communicate in internet groups and how to respond to bias, learn about privacy paradox and how their online actions can affect their person privacy, understand and utilize digital activism and how it relates to justice and social actions, the purpose of advertising on the internet and its advertisers' intent to manipulate consumers, what are the rights and responsibility of becoming a media consumer or creator. Cybersecurity curriculum should convey the importance of digital literacy to students and empower them with the skills needed to navigate the digital landscape responsibly. Online safety. Cybersecurity curriculum should lay a foundation for students to understand safe behavior online. Navigating the internet without safety in mind could lead to students' various risks and potential negative consequences. Some of the dangers and outcomes associated with unsafe internet use could be cyberbullying, privacy concerns, inappropriate content exposure, online predators, malware and viruses, digital footprint impact, addiction and distraction, misinformation, financial scams, and legal consequences. According to ICEV, there are 7 internet safety topics middle schoolers should learn to help navigate cyberspace. They are 1. Verifying someone's identity. 2. Verifying a link is safe. Identifying an online scam. Protecting privacy. Creating and using passwords. Identifying, not participating in stopping cyberbullying. Becoming a good digital citizen. Verifying someone's identity is a must. There have been numerous catfishing stories around the world. Catfishing refers to when a person takes information and images, typically from other people, and uses them to create a new identity for themselves. In some cases, the catfisher steals another individual's complete identity, including their image, date of birth, and geographical location, and pretends that it is their own. The catfisher then uses the identity to trick other people associated with them and doing business online. This is from Fortinet. There have been times when it's a single person that is targeted. This is why it's important to have students research their full name in Google and reverse image search someone profile's photo. If in doubt, the student should block them and move on. Verifying if a link is safe or not. An unsafe link could lead to many unintended consequences like financial and malware installation. The curriculum should address how to tell if the link is legitimate or not. Identifying an online scam should also be addressed in the curriculum. If there is an unsolicited message that mentions money, and the curriculum should address what is to be done. If the scam is fear and threats based, the students should be taught on how to handle these situations. Also, if the scam needs your information to proceed, students should be directed not to give out personal information. Of course, a lot of these concerns can be addressed by the school information technology department, but when students are outside of the realm of school, they should know what they should do according to the curriculum. Students should be taught through the curriculum on how to protect their privacy. This includes setting up their privacy setting in various applications. This should also include denying and turning off location settings. Passwords can be compromised by hackers and malicious people online. Students should know how to create a password that is hard to crack. They should also have different passwords for every account and never leak their passwords to anyone. This will include their friends, as this can lead to cyberbullying. Every good curriculum should address bullying. The cybersecurity should specifically address cyberbullying. The students should be taught on how to identify cyberbullying and what should be done to help stop it. Any type of bullying that includes cyberbullying in the state of California can lead to suspension from school. This includes home activity, as long as the home activity relates to another student at the school. The cybersecurity curriculum should inform students on how to become a good digital citizen. It should teach students on how to act online, and it should require students to think how their actions are perceived, how someone may review them, and how they can protect themselves. And now Chad is going to take over.
So that's kind of the backdrop. Obviously, there's a lot of risk out there as it primarily relates to our students. Adam mentioned mostly outside of school, it's when they're using their cell phones. Also, research shows it's particularly through their exposure to social media. But we're going to kind of look now at some of the ways you could develop a curriculum and certain modules and practical activities that can help teach them about the kind of infrastructure of networking, so that they can understand how to create security in the cyberspace and how to act in a safe manner. So this first example comes from SAE.org. It's a lesson called Cybersecurity, Keeping Our Networks Secure. This would be a little bit more of possibly an advanced lesson that might not be in a sort of basic course, but could be definitely in a computer science elective class, maybe like a tier 2 class that a student takes their second year after the first. So this is going to have a lesson on that emphasizes encryption as well as authentication through very practical activities, and it's going to help them, especially if they're visual spatial learners. So the way they're going to learn about this concept is by grouping together and then acting as a network, passing notes around from one to another, and then they can kind of simulate what happens when a network fails at any one node by the note not being passed or kind of being passed in an improper way, and just kind of understanding through this visual spatial exercise, how is it that networks function, so that they could then go on to better understand how to keep them secure. And on to the next slide. So we found some kind of general findings about content design and delivery. So it's been found that a combination of text, video games, and even like super apps that are one-stop shops for someone looking to teach a cybersecurity curriculum. These are a few of the formats that have been explored, but there's a lot of underexplored options that were noted in the research. So it's definitely a field with a lot of potential for growth and understanding all the opportunities that are out there. But these are sort of the more well-documented methods. What was brought up, and I'm sure everybody knows this, right? This is a class full of teachers, but absolutely critical to a successful cybersecurity education is student engagement, but also their ability to apply the knowledge. Adam kind of ran through a lot of the general principles of cybersecurity that like even the average citizen does well to comply to, given all of the risks out there when operating in a cyberspace. But particularly if as a society, we really want to keep our networks secure, then it's really important that we promote learning of these cybersecurity topics in such a way that these students can go on to seek a profession in that field. So it's going to be important to keep them engaged so that they're willing to, walk along with you and learn about this. But especially we want to make sure that the way that it's being taught results in the ability to apply that knowledge. And some of the kind of recurring themes that were noticed in the literature were about gamification, including also real-world problem solving that could be done using game-based learning or not, but also having a dynamic curriculum. Then let's see, this was a repeat of the slide. Not sure what happened there.
That's okay. We got that one.
But a note on gamification. So game-based learning has long been used in society to teach, even starting from young ages. It both is incredibly engaging, but you can also teach valuable skills, such as problem-solving strategies, for example, using chess. And one of the major benefits is it does promote this curious exploration. So if a student's running through a sort of problem and they are experiencing it in this game-based way, they can explore that problem and trying to solve it with the incentivization structure used by games of rewards and failure, which is a learning opportunity. These have shown to have optimal outcomes when this is instructor-led, as opposed to just letting the student run with it. You can imagine if you gave a student a chessboard and just said, good luck learning chess, they're probably not going to come to understand the finer nuances of positioning and different opening tactics or different opening strategies, and then tactics about how to execute a mid or late game strategy. So having that instructor there with them to walk them through and help them reflect on the game can really improve the outcome, the learning outcome. So this definitely checks off our engagement goals, but it's also been shown to support knowledge retention. So they found that probably as a result of the increased engagement, but also having some of those opportunities to apply different cybersecurity principles in the gamified setting does boost retention. Also, a very interesting note mentioned in the research was that it reduced learner confidence in technology. And this was actually an intended result of the game-based learning. And you could kind of imagine if you are incredibly confident in technology and sort of unaware, then you're really not going to find a need to practice a healthy level of skepticism in maintaining security. So kind of learning about some of the inherent flaws within computer systems can help motivate learners to actually try to act in a safer manner. And one example of a technology that can be used to institute this in an instructor-led way that has been well researched is Kahoot. And that's kind of a fun gamified quiz environment where you can kind of go back and review topics with students. Another major dynamic that was constantly brought up in the literature is that the curriculum is best when it's kind of storytelling driven. And so what this means is it's going to have these scenarios that are kind of played out by the student. And this can help make it very obvious why what they're learning is relevant. You know, if they're going through a scenario about a phishing attempt through email or social media, then they can kind of recognize why does this matter to me, and also get a sense of like, where might I encounter this kind of situation? And so that scenario-based, realistic context really helps to make it so that the learner understands why it applies to them. It's also going to increase their preparedness to deal with that risk. Again, they're going to kind of have a better opportunity to recognize when this is actually happening to them. If they've been taught to go through different phishing attempts, then when they're going to walk in real life through a phishing attempt, it's going to both increase their recognition, and they'll have a sense of, well, how did it play out in these scenarios? What were some of the negative desired outcomes, and how do I avoid those? And what were some of the positive desired outcomes, and how do I attain those? And one of the ways that you could do this that has been studied is incorporating digital comics. And I was imagining too that though it wasn't specifically said in the literature, this could be something where you design like a project where the students themselves create a comic. So that would be a sort of fun, engaging way to incorporate that and still lean into this cornerstone that has been shown to be successful in cybersecurity education. It's also just generally consistent with the primary use case that's appropriate for the age group. For example, social media, that's where they're mostly going to encounter this. They're going to interact with other people, potential threats that sort of thing. And so that kind of story-driven backbone component really gives it that feel of like interacting on social media or witnessing an interaction on social media. So it really targets probably the number one risk scenario that the students are exposed to. Now, the cybersecurity awareness framework that was pitched by the researchers emphasizes that this is a dynamically evolving landscape. For example, think of it like an evolutionary arms race. So cyber crime versus cybersecurity. Cyber crime is constantly evolving, and then cybersecurity is constantly having to innovate to solve these new vulnerabilities. And one example that was brought up was infrastructure as a service. So infrastructure as a service, as we've been learning, can generate serious cost savings for a company. It can make them more dynamic and flexible, and can make the business more resilient during times of volatility where they have to scale up or scale down their business and do so swiftly. And so infrastructure as a service definitely provides a lot of benefit to society, but as a sort of side effect also introduces a whole host of other security concerns that have been found to be exploitable by cyber criminals, or maybe a very curious computer fanatics. And so then as the technology landscape changes, it's important that we come back and look at how we can adapt the curriculum to adjust with that changing landscape.
All right. So in conclusion, as far as a summary, cybersecurity curriculum is a must at the middle school level. No longer can we allow them to wing it. They must be taught on what they should and should not do. Because as you can tell, cyberspace goes beyond the classroom. It affects them at home and in the future. And so we need to make sure we have a educated society on this. So thank you for the presentation, for watching this presentation. Hopefully you made it to the end. And once again, I'm Adam Contreras. This is Chad Johnson. Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.